I've just driven 300 miles and that felt a lot shorter than this episode. Well, hello there and welcome to the video. I apologise for it being a late one with regards to the latest offering from Strange New Worlds, Season 3, Episode 5. We are halfway point through this season of extremely poor science fiction television. Now, before I get into anything, if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button and give the video a like if you enjoy the content. And welcome to all the new subscribers to the channel. It's great to have you here, and I hope you enjoy the rest and upcoming content on the channel. Now, this episode, was great in concept. Again, as you come to expect from New Trek, it's wildly derivative. It pulls from so many different concepts, and on the face of it, it's a great concept. It has every right to be a great episode of science fiction. However, because of the way it's written and the structure of and the order of how they've chosen to write this episode, it's not good. It's a poor execution of the concept and idea behind it. It could have gone so many different ways, and the way that they chose to take it felt like it was trying to be more grandiose than it actually was in the end. The Enterprise is going on an archaeological expedition. You've got Corby, he's Chapel's new fling, and you've got almost 10 minutes of pure relationship nonsense at the beginning of the episode, to which I nearly fell asleep because, well, it was insanely dull, and I really struggled up until that point. Things did get sort of interesting after that, to a degree. You've got Mbenga's nurse sidekick. I can't even remember his name. That is a clear indication that this is New Trek. You really struggle to remember people's names. He's the young, guy who replaced Chapel while she was off and about doing her archaeological science stuff. They go on this dig to this planet, which the inhabitants are wanting to join the Federation, or the Federation wants them to join, I beg your pardon, and they're really hesitant. And Corby's been digging up these artifacts, and this is like the main site. They uncover this. Oh my god! I don't even know what it looks like. It looks like this hidden sort of structure, and they go in, and it's like, to cut a long story short, it's like the Tesseract from Interstellar, with the bookcases and everything. But it's like that with corridors and everything, and it's extra-dimensional space. It's an ancient civilization, and it turns out that it's a prison. The doctor's assistant gets his eyes literally burned out. Quite graphic, quite gory. And again, Star Trek doesn't really need to be that excessively gory anyway, but gets his eyes burned out and ultimately possessed by this disembodied form, this disembodied, I suppose, prisoner. And because Batel has the DNA of the Gorn inside her body, she recognises that species. So there's clearly some sort of ancient connection to the Gorn, rooted in her Gorn DNA. Gorn, because they're not really the Gorn, they're more like the Xenomorphs, to be fair. Again, it's a canon breaking episode, so I feel bad for LaForge. Xell mentioned this, and I thought there was like a DS9 reference in this episode, but there wasn't. It was simply a case of you've got LaForge and Martok, obviously, both blind, various degrees of blind. Geordie's got a visor, but in Strange New Worlds, 100 years or more before Picard, before the Next Generation, they can regenerate eyes. But his eyes aren't regenerating. The young man's eyes aren't regenerating because he's possessed by this prisoner, this disembodied prisoner. Again, these concepts have been done in sci-fi, not done to death, but done in much more interesting ways than this, and much more and much better written ways than this. The episode unfolds, and there's a lot of stuff just happening because the plot needed it to happen. A lot of contrivance, there's a lot of steps here that are missing. that don't make a lot of sense, and the episode feels very sort of discombobulated and disjointed as a result. Pelia is super annoying. She cuts off Scotty when Scotty's trying to talk. He's trying to give an explanation on something, and Pelia just cuts him off completely. I really, really hate that Pelia character. At the end of the day, she may as well have just turned around and said to Scotty, "Shut up, this is not going to go very well for you." But yeah, she interrupts him and it just cuts him off completely. Like, Scotty, I think he's getting a rough rap this season. He's like this little boy who needs permission to speak. I mean, I know every character has to have an origin story, but come on. This is pathetic. This is absolutely pathetic. What a pathetic character. They figure out, because they're in multiple dimensions, because this is essentially a interstellar type tesseract, that they're all in the same room, just in different layers of reality. They've got exactly the right amount of artifacts to set everything right. And then because there's certain things that happen which are effect before cause, there's a bridge to the door that's not there. And the only way to get to the door, to get out of this place, is to do an Indiana Jones style leap of faith. And it again, none of it really made any sense as to why they needed to do that, because the bridge isn't there, but it is there, but it's not, but it was, but it's going to be. It was really confusing. I don't even think the writers knew what they were doing at that point. The scenes with the nurse and Benga's nurse, he doesn't survive the episode. Once he's dead now. He's dead inside. Well, he's not really alive. He's not keeping him alive. He's literally just like possessing his meat suit at this point, his dead meat suit. And the only thing keeping that going is the entities. So once the entity is sort of pushed out, Scotty captures it in a ball of convenience and puts it in a transporter buffer. So it's a prisoner in the transporter buffer. And they got this penal colony, basically, this prison, which is multidimensional, from these ancient beings, that none of it really made any sense, and it didn't come to any kind of satisfactory end other than Pelia saying, "Oh, if it ever escapes, God help us all," and then cutting to cracking a joke afterwards. It was really, really bad. This episode was a complete waste of a good idea, and that's been the trend that Strange New Worlds has been setting for a while now. And yeah, a completely wasted concept, really badly written. We don't care about the Spock love triangle. We don't care. This is a science fiction show. Now, Star Trek had its relationships. It had things like that, and there were entire episodes based on relationships. But there were very well written underlying storylines behind those concepts, behind those additions to the episode. And there was always something interesting going on. So if the main plot wasn't that interesting, at least the subplot would be. But this had nothing. It was really bad. And Patel, with the Gorn link, it was really stupid. It led to more questions. Okay, so why can't we have some sort of resolution from this? And again, the Gorn thing, come on. I mean, I know Voyager did the Kazons for 2 seasons, but, they eventually dropped it and just pushed it up to one side. Just leave the Gorn alone. For the love of God, what's wrong with you people? All in all, midway through this season now, this was a okay episode. I would say after last week's utter insult to every Star Trek fan that ever existed, this episode was at least not as bad. And a great concept, but wasted. And wasted on these hack writers. They're just awful writers. They haven't got a bloody clue. Now, I don't write. I'm not a writer. But I know what a good story is. And this ain't it. This ain't it. This was a very sort of meh episode. Now, probably had I seen it before last week's episode, I may have been a bit more critical of it. But last week's episode set the bar so low that I couldn't really give this one too rough of a time. Although it was appalling, it wasn't the most appalling thing I'd ever seen. But one thing with Strange New Worlds, I find that I'm watching the progress bar as I'm taking my screenshots. The progress bar is always there, and I'm waiting for the episode to be over. I don't do that with any other Star Trek, certainly older Trek. I don't go, oh, how long's left in this episode? Because I'm getting bored. Most of New Trek, that's what I find myself doing. Oh God, are we nearly there yet? Why? So all in all, not a great episode. I am back now on the channel. I've been away for my holidays. We're back. We're going to be back next Friday with an Evening in 10 Forward. We'll be discussing the Strange New Worlds episodes that have aired since I've been away. And we will also be talking Otoy, the Roddenberry archive, and all of the wonderful stuff that they're doing over there. So please join us next Friday for an Evening in 10 Forward. And don't forget, if you like this video, give it a like, and if you enjoy what I do here, hit that subscribe channel.
What? You incompetent topa!
Share the channel, share it far and wide, and until next time, you look after yourselves, you look after one another. Take care. Bye bye for now.
The healer, the eraser of all done and said. And as I fall back to my shelter, I know I'll only find peace in your smile.